I'm here with Jodie from the Good Birthing Company, and she's going to tell me about these water pools here. Jodie, how did you start up the company?
The company was founded by Amy McLean, who is actually an NCT antenatal teacher.
Right.
It was set up about 3 years ago. She went to have a water birth with her second child and had to hire a pool, and it was really quite expensive. Because some pools, when you hire them, can be from 150 to 500 pounds, which is a lot of money, and it pushes water birth into the I've got to actually be able to afford this category rather than being available to everybody. And so she set about importing paddling pools from America.
Right.
Nice and cheap, 50 quid, and everybody loved them, and it really took off, and we thought, hang on a second, this is fantastic. We're making all mothers be able to have water births, which is a really, really effective form of pain relief. So what they did, this is our new pool, which we launched at the baby show last year.
Okay.
Custom built as a result of focus groups with midwives and mothers, me included. I was one of those mothers.
Brilliant.
And just chatting about what you need, what you don't like, what you like, what you need in a pool when you're giving birth. And hence the handles. We've got a comfy, squidgy bottom base, so that if you're on your knees, which a lot of women like to do, they like to go on all fours, then you've got nice, soft, padded bit for underneath your knees. We've got an integrated step, but that's optional. You can deflate that if you don't want it, but it is part of the whole pool.
Right. And I notice it's right on the bottom. Is that for a reason?
Yeah. Midwives ask for that because it means that they can tell what's going on. If you have had a little tear and there's a bit of blood in the water, they'll be able to see because the bottom is white. If it was blue, it's not as
completely
obvious.
safe in that sense. Everyone can keep an eye on what's going on.
Exactly.
And what does the water actually do? How does it help with the pain relief?
Well, the analogy I use is, what do you do when you burn yourself?
Right.
You immediately go to the kitchen tap and put your hand under cold water, and the effect is fantastic. You take your hand out of the tap and it starts hurting again. Now, it's not a case of in labour there's no pain when you're in water. It's not a miracle pain reliever, but what it does do is really take the edge off the pain, and also takes the edge off the perception of the pain. If you're in water, if you're in warm water, even if you're not pregnant or giving birth, at the end of a hard day, or when you've been to the gym, or you're knackered, and all your muscles are aching, and you're thinking, oh God, you get in a hot bath and you chill, and the rush of endorphins is absolutely fantastic.
Very relaxing
but that's also body's natural pain reliever. So what you're getting is two for the price of one. You're calm anyway because you're in the water, but it's also making the endorphins work. And that just makes it all a much easier experience.
And I guess because you've got it in your home as well, you're already in familiar surroundings.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I watched Casablanca while I was doing
You used one of these, didn't you?
I did. It's fantastic. Very, very good. I mean, the beauty of this pool is that it's portable.
Right.
It comes in a 55 centimetre square box. So you just take it into hospital with you. You just have to check in your antenatal appointments that your midwives are happy for you to do that. We actually supply a hospital-grade pool to a lot of midwife centres and hospitals and birth centres now. And what they do is they buy liners for the pool, but it's a hospital-grade pool which is made to be reused, whereas these are just for home use, just for individuals.
What are the liners?
Well, the idea with a liner is there's a lot of good points to having a liner. One is that it also helps if there is a leak of water at all. It's another barrier against water escaping. So if you had a slight leak there, it wouldn't make any difference because you've got another liner.
Right. Okay.
So that it's an extra barrier against water leaking. But it's also nice and clean.
Yeah.
So a lot of women like to use the pools in late pregnancy. In the last, say, 6 weeks, you're heavy, you're uncomfortable, you've got lower backache, and all those aches and pains disappear in a hot bath. But if you get into a hot bath at home, I mean, I used to do this, and the top of my belly was cold, and you're desperately splashing water over your belly, and it just doesn't work. Set this up. And I know that people say, well, I'm not going to set up a birthing pool in my house for the last 6 weeks. But I tell you what, if it makes you sleep a whole night through, you'll do anything.
Anything to alleviate that discomfort.
Absolutely. They're very, very good.
Is there a certain temperature that it has to be maintained at?
So you can have it during the labour itself at any temperature that you're comfortable with, but when the baby's actually born, the midwives will up the temperature so that it's the same as your core body temperature, because then it's no shock for when the baby comes out.
Right.
But the other thing that people ask is, well, why doesn't the baby breathe underwater
Well,
when it comes out?
exactly.
It's very important that you have the water height, that it covers your bump.
Okay.
And that if you are on all fours, it covers your back as well, because the only reason that a baby breathes is when air hits its face. So it's a reflex, and it then sucks in air. If you think about it, when they're in your belly, they don't breathe, because they're surrounded by water. Coming into a water environment is exactly the same as being in the womb. So it just continues that. And the only time they breathe is then when they're lifted up. And you deliver them yourself, of course, because it's your little territory, and it's wonderful. You bring them up to the air, and then they take their first breath.
Now, I believe there's another quality of these birthing pools, that you can use them after.
Absolutely. I mean, the problem with having a hire pool is that it is a hire pool. You're not owning this piece of equipment, so you have it for 4 weeks. from your expected due date, and there's a couple of weeks either side. But with these, you own this. I mean, they range. The mini pool that we're going to show you in a minute. The mini pool is £55. This is the optimum pool, which has got a step and it's larger. This is £70. You own that then. It's a piece of kit that you own for your kids' paddling pools in the future, and also for number 2 and number 3 kids when you come along.
So you can actually use this as a paddling pool?
Absolutely. And all we say is that you use a liner when you're going to give birth in it.
Yeah.
Because it's clean, and also you're having it in your house. It's an extra water protection. Use this out in the garden. It doesn't matter if there's any kind of water leak, but in the house you want to protect yourself, and the line is great for that.
And you can take the middle layer out,
yeah.
Is that correct?
If you are not particularly tall,
I think that's aimed at me there.
yeah, then what you can do is, if you look here, these valves are for each individual layers of the pool,
right.
and the idea being that you can reduce that middle layer to bring that down a bit. Because if a shorter woman's in the pool and she's leaning over the side, she perhaps doesn't want it so high, she wants it a bit lower. It also means that if your midwife is not particularly tall, she can lower the sides as well and get easier access to the mother in the pool.
What do midwives think of these?
Absolutely fantastic. We have so many great testimonials. Have a look on the website. It's really, really wonderful. A lot of midwives actually saying they prefer the inflatable pool to the rigid pool that they've got in their centre, which is wonderful.
Is that because of the comfort?
Yeah, I mean, if you lean on this, bearing in mind that an average labour is sort of 8 to 12 hours, if you're leaning on this for quite a long time, looking after a mother and that sort of thing, it's comfortable. If you get a rigid-sided, higher pool, they're made of fiberglass, they're pretty firm. It's not particularly keen to be leaning on for a long time.
I'm going to see how comfortable it
Excellent.
is. Very soft inside, isn't it?
Well, one of the results of the focus group was getting the inflatable bottom. As I said before, when you're on all fours, your knees can get quite uncomfortable if it's a hard bottom.
And the
so it's a lot of
itself
squash.
here, because you know where the arch of your back is, it just supports it really
It's in the small of your back. But these handles are great. Grip onto those handles. Because a lot of women have said at the focus group that they like to brace in labour. And that means that you can really hold on.
Of course, it does save you breaking your partner's hand, and surely that's something that is a benefit.
Gripping is good in labour, and if you can do that, then you're not breaking your partner's bones. But they've also, you've got 4 on one end and 2 on the other end.
Right, let me try it on all 4s then, because I don't believe it's going to support my knees. Oh, it is actually, it's really comfortable.
They're really squidgy.
I can stay here for quite a while.
And it's also lovely when it comes to be a paddling pool in the future.
Yeah.
No paddling pools really have squatty bottoms. They're all flat. And in the garden, on a hard soil in the garden, that's not very comfortable. Kids messing around and that sort of thing, it's perfectly comfortable.
And you don't have to inflate this, do you? You can just leave it
you
as
can
it
choose
is.
not to have that. There's a separate valve at the front, so you can choose not to have that. But that was an optional addition that Mother said that would be nice.
Yeah, I quite like it with the step there, but if you're using it as a paddling pool, perhaps
then
not
you
later
can take
on.
it down. Exactly.
Well, I think I'm ready for labour now. 9 months' time, I think. Thanks, Jodie.
Cool.